This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team.
The final score, Fylde 2, Wrexham 0, and it's getting a bit worrying now. Let's be honest. Wrexham not making many changes, only 3 from the side that lost the last league game at Bromley. They now lost 5 in a row, haven't scored in any of those, and I should thank their lucky stars that the rest of the top of the division seems to be having the same problems. So we're still not far off the top spot, but my goodness, we have to put our own house in order and sort things out here. Otherwise, we will soon drop off that and not be in contention. Say 3 changes from the side that lost at Bromley, but the new signings, such as Oswell and Stockwell, only on the bench, Tollett not even on the bench, and well, it was a different approach at the start, and although by the end, it felt like everything was pretty much cut and dried and we'd been well beaten. The truth of the matter is, we did try to shake things up a bit in the first half. Our approach was a bit different. And you just wondered, especially in the first half hour, whether it might bear fruit. Certainly, I think Wrexham were very satisfied with the opening half hour. They were clearly trying to be more direct, trying to get at Fylde more. I'm not saying long ball, but just much keener to try and play forward passes. In fact, there was one really notable cameo right in front of us where a Wrexham player in the halfway line passed the ball backwards when he could have gone forwards, and Graham Barrow was absolutely going spare in frustration. Clearly, he was encouraging his players to address the creativity issues by trying to get the ball passed forwards all the time as much as possible, purely to try and get in and find a bit of space in the opposing half before the opposition was able to get its shape and get its deep defensive block in. And opening a few minutes, it worked out. In fact, who knows, if the first minute the referee had made a couple of different calls, might just have gone Wrexham's way within the first minutes. Luke Summerfield, as he did often in the match, playing a really good ball down the right-hand side over the top, a 2-on-2 breakaway. Rutherford in a bit of space charged into the box. You wondered whether he might have been able to come inside and made a shooting opportunity for him. Instead, he drove it into the goal mouth and it was cut out and put behind for a corner. First controversial moments then came from that corner. Summerfield stepped up, swung it in, and Pearson went down like a sack of potatoes. He was claiming he'd been punched, I think, in the stomach. The referee called both he and Byrne, the centre-back, across and just spoke to both of them. Now he blew his whistle to stop play. I assume the referee would explain this by saying that he blew the whistle before Summerfield took the corner, so the ball was dead when he blew. Ooh, I'm very keen to see the replay, because my feeling at the time was that he blew his whistle as the ball was in the air, and if that case, that's a penalty to Wrexham. Anyway, it was just a retake for the corner after he'd sorted things out, and I was watching Pearson naturally, and again Byrne grabbed hold of him and pulled him down. I'd have thought the referee would be looking at those two, but didn't give the penalty. It still nearly happened anyway for Wrexham, as the ball was swung into the box by Summerfield. It ricocheted loose, and Grant, attacking an awkward bouncing ball 6 yards out, couldn't keep it down and put it over the bar. For the 5th minute, Wrexham had another less convincing shout for a penalty. A good free kick swung in by Summerfield. Players went down in the box claiming they were tugged back. Ref said no. So Wrexham looking very dangerous on the breakaway, drawing some Fylde onto them. Fylde really were taking gambles, especially from set pieces, leaving themselves undermanned on the halfway line and in danger of being caught out. However, Fylde increasingly was starting to look dangerous, especially on the break. In the 15th minute, took a superb save by Leighton to deny them. Horton, who had come to control the game, swinging in a free kick, and I think it was Crowsdale. It was hard to tell as a crowd of players went up, got a good contact in his header from 8 yards out. It was going under the bar. Brilliantly acrobatic save by Leighton to push it over for the corner. Wrexham then at the other end causing problems. Neither Grant nor Bevan really got a lot of good service, or indeed made much of what they had. But both of them showing persistence, if not quality, battling on the edge of the area, losing the ball but winning it back, or at least refusing to allow the ball to be cleared. And in the end, it span away from a challenge by Bevan to a Keel Wright, who was again getting into very advanced positions. And in the D, he pivoted and hit a shot which, when it was going towards the bottom left corner, keeper low down to his right was able to save it. A deflection took a little bit of pace off it, which probably helped Lynch to make that save. After a few of the half, and back up the other end, Danny Rowe had been pretty quiet until this point, but now he was going to start to come into things. He was starting to cause problems. So Jake Lawler, who getting a bit exposed as the game got stretched, struggled to contain Rowe. Rowe beat Lawler, and from a tight angle, but very close in, did well twice to cut inside to try and improve the angle before striking powerfully with his left foot from close range. A great block by Pearson, denying him. And 4 minutes later, Rowe was beating Lawler again, this time a trademark long-range drive from a good 25 yards. Real power, vicious strike. Fylde scored like that against Wrexham last season, a Rowe free kick that time, which Dunn parried out, and the rebound was scored by Johnny Smith. On this occasion, Leighton was able to push it out, and the flag went up to deny Bradley, although to be fair, Leighton also made a good follow-up save. At the other end then, Wrexham pushing on. Another decent, very good opportunity. Corner swept in, Lynch, the keeper, made a hash of trying to gather it, and the ball span up in the air right. It was only about 3 yards out, and managed to get a touch to it towards goal, but not a convincing touch. If he put his head through it, Wrexham had scored, and as a result it was partially scrambled away. Summerfield latched on a loose ball 25 yards out. It was an excellent early strike. Lynch's body language suggested it wasn't very close to the target. I think it was, especially judging by where it hit the terrific bank of Wrexham supporters behind the goal. I think this Lynch was just rooted to the spot, and a bit lucky that Summerfield's shot skimmed the bar rather than dipping just underneath it. But by this point, although Wrexham will have been very happy with how they're going about things, there was just that sense that with that lack of quality in the final third for Wrexham, they weren't going to take any chances. And that concurrently, Fylde's breakaways were starting to work well. Wrexham's tactics had been effective in I think they set the tempo of the game. It was a fast, very stretched match. The problem was Fylde had far superior creative and attacking options, and actually they looked more likely to score in the break than Wrexham did. And as the half wore on, they started to create better chances. They were helped by Brad Walker, who had a very strange game in front of the back four. Some of his passing was very good. Some of his tackling was good. Some of his passing, though, was horribly sloppy, and he made a couple of slack mistakes, and one of them, a ball forwards, he miscontrolled it, and Hayton picked it up, ran to the edge of the area from 20 yards out, hit a good shot, which went just wide of the left post. Then it was Roberts who lost the ball, and Hayton was able to swing it across on the right-hand side, over to the far post. Rowe on the gallop, took on a difficult volley on the corner of the 6-yard box, and nearly nailed it under the bar. Just went over. A really good effort. Wrexham to have one more chance in that first half. Summerfield swinging in a ball beyond the far post. Walker losing his man with a free header. I think, to be honest, he was trying to place it over the keeper and inside the far post, but he got it all wrong, headed it back across the 6-yard box again, where Grant was only able to drill it into the goal mouth where it was scrambled clear. Wrexham would pay for failing to make enough chances from those opportunities to break away, when in the 44th minute they conceded again a goal they won't be happy with. It was brilliant play by Hayton to get the ball on the edge of the box and go off an amazing dribble into the area, but Wrexham, I think, would have been frustrated that they couldn't halt him until Lawler came across and made a good block tackle 6 yards out. It span loose, and it seemed that Lawler and Walker pretty much left it for each other. I think Walker more culpable there, and it dropped quite close to him. The two defenders, statuesque, and Hemming stepped in and drilled in a powerful shot from a tightish angle left of the side of the penalty area. Leighton got down low to his left, got a strong hand onto it, but could only push it into the ground and up into the roof of the net. Leighton absolutely livid with his defenders. I don't think he could have done a huge amount more. He was left exposed by the indecision of Lawler and Walker. The second half started horribly for Wrexham because Fylde really piled it on, their most dominant spell of the match. A long ball forwards, Rowe laying it off nicely, and Bradley from 25 yards out nailing a tremendous drive. Luckily for Wrexham, it was quite straight, and Leighton was able to get behind it and make a good punch clear. Soon after that, Wrexham were making a double change, one of the players coming off being Walker, Bevan being the other, and I say Walker having an unhappy match, replaced by Luke Young. Rakeel Pike came on up front for Bevan, and Pike actually added a decent bit of punch to the Wrexham side. At least he was trying to scrap and was pinning back the centre-backs a bit more. However, within a couple of minutes of that change being made, Wrexham were 2-0 down and really up against it. This time, it was Wrexham trying to commit forwards. Pearson gone up for a set piece. He went over the left-hand side but lost it. I think trying a bit too hard. He could have just laid it off and got into the box, but he tried a little ball around the corner, lost the ball, and again, Fylde was so quick on the break. Horton driving forwards, he fed Hemmings, who broke into the left channel, drove a shot, which I think may have taken a nick off a defender, and Leighton lunged desperately. He couldn't get much on it, and it went inside the right post. And at 2-0, well, it's all started to feel familiar. This has happened to Wrexham a few times in this losing run, as they found their opponents in the comfort zone, sitting back and just keeping their shape, and Wrexham passing it around in front of them and struggling to really break them down. Stockton came on for Grant as well. But although you would have to credit Wrexham for their effort, massive effort, epitomised by Paul Rutherford, who really was tearing around the pitch, but then also was struggling to create anything. Rutherford, in that sense, epitomising the Wrexham performance too. There were moments, Summerfield swinging in the left-sided corner, Pearson heading it perfectly back across the face of goal, attacked by Wright inside the 6-yard box. From my angle, it looked like he should have scored, but just put his header over the bar. He was convinced he'd headed it onto a defender, which deflected it over. Then the best move by Wrexham of the match, down the right-hand side, lovely one-touch combination play in triangles between Rutherford, Grant and Summerfield, ending with Summerfield tearing down, cutting in from the right-hand side and ripping a good left-footed shot from 20 yards, Lynch lunging to his right, able to push it around the post for a corner. Fylde are happy to keep their shape and weren't breaking as much as they were, although, having said that, Rowe had one excellent opportunistic effort, knowing that Leighton was high up the pitch, trying to come out and get the game restarted swiftly whenever the ball was cleared into the Wrexham half. Took a gamble 40 yards out, spinning on the right flank and just launching a shot over the keeper, which went wide of the left post. A lovely effort, but just off target. In added time, well, by now the game was gone. Wrexham did actually carve out two major chances, what the first of which, well, I mean, 9 times out of 10 would have been a goal. Summerfield ripping it across into the box, Pike attacking it with a flicked header, hit a defender and dropped perfectly for Rutherford. It looked like he had to score 10 yards out. To be fair to him, I'm not saying he's the bloke I'd normally want those chances to fall to, but he did nail his shot into the top right corner. A magnificent save by Lynch, who suddenly managed to leap up and claw the ball away to safety. Then the fourth minute of added time, another moment of danger. Rutherford ripping it across, Lynch again spilling it, but nobody able to get on the end of it and knock the ball home. Huge frustration for Wrexham. For more analysis, have a listen to what Ollie Williams and I had to say after the match on Calon FM.
This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team.
Yeah, so huge disappointment for Wrexham. They suffered their 5th consecutive defeat, equaling the worst run of defeats which Wrexham have ever had since they dropped down to the National League, in 5 games without a goal. That's also the longest Wrexham have gone at this level without scoring. And once again, you can't fault them for heart, you can't fault them for efforts, but there's something lacking here, Ollie, I feel.
Yeah, well, I think we know what it is, don't we? Unfortunately, potentially our two best chances came to us in stoppage time, and where the game had got away from us at that point. So, yeah, Wrexham, it's been really, really disappointing this afternoon. Started so well, looked like we were really getting into their faces, creating a lot of opportunities, but it's fine to say, 2-0 loss, 5 games without a goal. It's our worst record in 10 years now.
Yeah, that's right. We deliberately had to stretch the game out, get the ball forwards earlier in order to allow us to be more creative and try to attack a defence which isn't settled and deep and has its defensive block in place. The problem was that Fylde were much better to capitalise upon a stretched game. They were able to get forwards and hit us and expose us, and well, we paid a very, very heavy price for that. They were clinical going forwards, they were threatening.
Yep.
Whereas there was an awful lot of heart from Wrexham, and it continued till the very end. And you know, they've gone across, and the Wrexham fans who stayed behind are clapping them. They know this team is putting a lot of effort in, but that lack of creativity, that lack of cutting edge is really a concern, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. I think this weekend, in terms of what Wrexham are trying to achieve this season, Wrexham have got a little bit lucky. As of the latest scores, Solihull are dropping points, Orient are losing, Salford are drawing, sides around them are dropping points. But there will be a period this season where all of those teams will pick up 3 points consistently week on week. Wrexham need to address this situation before that, because they're going to fall behind. And Wrexham, they don't want to go from chasing the title to chasing a place in the playoffs. Top 3 is what they're targeting this season, and that is something that is more than achievable. However, they don't want to fall off the pace and be looking over their shoulder at potentially not finishing in those sort of positions. I'm not saying we're getting to that point just yet, but they do need to sort it out sooner rather than later.
That's right, next Saturday feels like a huge game already, a home game against Tyne that isn't pushing up at the top end of the table. That feels like a big match. This was unfortunate timing maybe in some senses when we're desperate for results to come to a difficult place like Fylde. But again, you could just see the higher quality they had in the attacking third. We've made our moves into the transfer markets. We've brought in Grant, Tollett, Stockton and Oswell, and that's the hand that Graham Barrow's going to have to try and turn into a winning hand, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. And as we said in commentary, Jason Oswell and Cole Stockton, they need game time, they need match fitness, and the only time they're going to get that is on the pitch in a league game. They had the trophy game last week, they had the Bromley game, but in terms of they need to be playing together and they need to be linking up and finding that sort of that partnership, that's going to be key for Wrexham. I think Oswell's going to be could be a huge source of goals for Wrexham this season. It's just important that he's not getting out onto the pitch this afternoon. Ben Tollett not on the pit, not in the squad we spoke about earlier as well. So there's a lot of players missing out, but Wrexham need to find that combination quickly.
We've got 90 seconds to pick a man of the match. Less than that actually now. Summerfields, Pearson, Rutherford for his efforts.
He'd be potentially. Rutherford might be up there. He
never stopped running.
No, he didn't.
But then didn't have that much end product, which is maybe
a game
Wrexham's problem.
Anyone has any end product, so I think in terms of you go on to the next best thing of who was putting that shift in, I think it was Rutherford.
Summerfield's energy was good though, and he was getting some decent balls in as well.
Yeah, he was.
Be fair to him.
You call it.
Summerfield then. I guess. Not that I was hinting in that direction quite heavily.
Not a chance.
But there was a lot of energy, a lot of effort. I mean, Rutherford summed that up, but also maybe that sums up the problem as well. Loads. I mean, the biggest heart in football, and he just kept going till the end. He was at the heart of those two opportunities in added time. But we need cutting edge and finesse. We've got plenty of heart in this squad, plenty of players who desperately want to succeed, but we need somebody who's got that little extra something. And well, I reckon it's Ben Tollis, but maybe it isn't. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, disappointment for Wrexham, 5 defeats in a row, and they need to turn it around next Saturday. A game you can listen to live, of course, on Calon FM. With the final score of AFC Fylde 2, Wrexham 0. I'll hand back to the studio.
This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team.